Okay, sanded is open. Looks awesome. This here looks good. What'll end up happening, this looks matte. We're gonna be sanding this anyway. That'll bring back up the polish later. So all we're gonna do now, we're gonna take some paper. This 220. Just gonna hit this edge here. Just make that smooth. Same with this edge here. I think at this point, if you've watched the other sanding video, you should get the idea of what you're doing. Take your time, go slow. You know, it's always better to go with a finer grit sandpaper, see that you're not getting anywhere with it, and then go back to something a little bit more aggressive. So keep that in mind too. Be careful around the nose. So I'm just sanding out this ridge here where the two pieces of tape and the epoxy met. So this, you call it's kind of like the tape line. Okay, I'm going to repeat the other side, and we're going to take it out and we're going to wet sand it. Okay, I'm all done taking down all of the heavy little lines of epoxy. I've sanded all the way around here, made a nice edge on this. Next, I have all my wet sandpaper, wet dry sandpaper. So lubricating, sanding it wet. What I like about it is it keeps the dust down. Also, it keeps the paper from clogging up. So I'm going to go with, I was sanding this with 220. Now I'm going to do 320. I'm going to touch the whole board to get rid of all the little bumps and any little wavy spots. I'm going to use a sanding block, or you can use it by hand. You know, it's up to you. So I'm going with 320, 600. I got some. Actually, I got some 400, and then I got some 600, and then I got an 800, 1,000, 1,500, all the way up to 2,000. So what you will do is you're going to just spend some time, just take your time, and just sand all the way around the board. The 320 will just kind of even things out. Everything else will basically remove the scratches from the more aggressive grade of sandpaper until you get finer and finer and finer until there are no little marks or very little marks, and then you hit it with some polishing compound, some clear coat compound with a buffer. You can hand buff it, and that's it. So now this part just takes some manual labor. You can use a polisher, or I should say a sander, to do all this. I just happen to like using wet sanding. The actual board companies don't go to this length, I don't believe, because they have really good sanders, as in people that know what they're doing. So they tend to probably use power sanders to do this part. I'm just going to do it by hand. So it's up to you. If you feel brave and want to try it with a power sander, by all means. You could use a palm sander with some of this too. It's just anything after about the 320, the 400, it's going to really clog up, and you're going to find yourself having to brush the sandpaper a lot with like a brass brush or a nylon brush just to unclog it. So, okay, I'm going to take this outside, and then we'll just start hitting at it with the sandpaper. Just wetting down the board. And I'm just going to hit it with some sandpaper. That's it. It's easy as that. Coming along really nice. Alright, I'm probably going to just do the rest and not film it because it's kind of boring to film. So once you sand it like this, I've done this whole section here now. I'm going to take off this paper after I do the rest of the board, of course. This is 320. I'm going to start hitting it with the 400, and then just same thing. You're going to remove the previous scratches. Use lots of water. Keep it flowing so the sandpaper doesn't clog up, and go through all the grits of sandpaper. Once I'm done, I'll come back and I'll show the final result. Okay, I spent some time sanding this, and it's fairly flat now. I did what was it, 320 and then 400. Now I'm going to do 600. There's a few little spots here where it's just a little shiny. It's hard to see when it's wet. So I'm just going to hit this a little bit with just a little bit of water and take out those shinies. Just to level it out, because what I'm going for now is a level board. And now I'm sanding out all the previous scratches, working my way back up to a nice polish. So I'm just going to keep at it for a bit, and then as I'm progressing through the grits I might show that, but I'm just going to work through it right now and then shut off the camera. Okay, so now I've hit all those spots. I'm just going to work my way from the front of the board back, sanding out all the previous scratches. So I'm trying to keep this as flat as possible to the board. Feels nice and even to me. So now I'm going to do the deck, and then I'm just going to keep going. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, I'm just letting the board dry. I wiped it down, rinsed it with some nice clean water. So we're going to compound it now. This is the type of compound I like using. McGuire's, Mother's makes one, there's all kinds. But get a good quality one. It just makes a huge difference. Don't get like the cheap turtle wax stuff. Get, you know, a good quality one. This was like, I forget, 15 bucks I think. Works awesome. Just really brings out the shine. Right now the board looks completely matte. It just is dull. Once you hit it with the compound, it's just gonna pop. And then after that, if you really want to go crazy, you can glaze it, and then you can do a wax. So you know, just like finishing a card, detailing a card, you can use the exact same products. So once we hit this with the compound, you'll see it's just going to shine. I'm going to do it by hand. My buffing pad is actually frayed, so I don't have it right now, but you can do it by hand, and that's what I'm going to do. It is a little easier with a machine, but anyways, let's hit it. So I'm just going to test a spot here. Now this is a compound, it's not a wax, so you don't want to leave it on, you want to work it in. Try not to do it out in the sun. I am doing it out in the sun just because I want to see how shiny it is. It's just like waxing a car, or I should say compounding a car. You don't want to do it in direct sunlight. So essentially what I'm saying is don't do what I'm doing. Okay, so after we're done with that, let's hit it with a clean cloth and see. This is where it's going to shine. It's just smooth as can be. So the more you buff it, the better it'll get. I might take it inside and do it because it's kind of hard to see out here. Okay, I've taken it inside and you can see the difference. This is the section that doesn't have any compound on it. This right here has been compounded once. It's a lot smoother. You can even hear the difference when you run your hand over it. So you can go crazy at this. You can polish and polish and polish this, or compound this, I should say. It's up to you how shiny you want to make it. I'm just going to make it a nice, brilliant shine. I'll be happy with that. Board's going to get surfed, it's going to get dinged, it's going to be out in the sun, it's going to fade. But, you know, it's nice to make it a nice and smooth and shiny for the first little while. So I'm going to hit the rest of the board and pinstripe it, and it's ready to go. Actually, at this point, if you didn't want to do any of that stuff, this board is ready to be surfed. Throw some wax on it, you are good to go. So for those of you who are ambitious, keep polishing, keep compounding away at it, and get a nice shiny board. I just wanted to show the difference in one or more coats of the compounding. This section has one. Still a little dull, but it's certainly a lot better than the rest of the board. This section here has 3, and it's significantly glossier. Like, I can see my reflection. I don't really make it out in the camera, but it's way, I don't know if the light from the door is going to impact this, but I'll take some photos maybe. But anyways, it's significantly shinier than the one that has 1. And if I hit this again, it'll probably pop a little more. And effectively, all the compound is doing is just, it's got little tiny pieces of abrasive in it, and it's just slowly removing scratches. So I'm going to continue on. It takes a lot of elbow grease. I might wait and shell out and go get a buffing pad for my polisher to replace the one that's torn. But anyways, I'll show a final of how polished the board is, and I'll probably do a pinstripe before I do the deck. So I'll do a pinstripe and then I'll compound the deck from there. Okay.